So I want to talk a little bit about Kahoot. You guys know of this Kahoot that I speak of, right?
Yes.
You have heard of the Kahoots. Okay, good. So, because a lot of times we think of using Kahoot for reviewing in class, questions on the screen, students doing the answers on their devices, and they continue to add some new features, and there are some newer-ish ones. So I want to throw some of those out. If any of you have used them, I would love to hear kind of like what your thoughts are on them and how you use them. And if you haven't used them, you're going to get something brand new. So real quick before we start, though, I did want to tell you that I'm working off of a ViewSonic interactive view board, which is pretty cool. This is 75 inches from there to there. And it's pretty cool. They're very, very durable. I mean, they don't crack and break very easily. And then, of course, you can annotate on the screen if you want to with this little controller here. Can change the colors. And then it's kind of, this is funny, it's kind of like a chalkboard. You know how if you want to erase something on a chalkboard and you don't have an eraser, what do? Somebody show me. Yeah, you either use your hand or use this and you erase it like that, you know? Isn't that cool? Yeah, that's like one of my favorite things. I love doing that. So anyway, and then that all just disappears. So, okay. So let's Kahoot, shall we? Okay, first one I wanted to tell you about is their collections. Are we familiar with the collections? Okay, this is something that's sort of newer. And tell me if this has happened. This is like hashtag the struggle is real. You know, this is like something that I think all Kahoot using teachers go through at some point. You bring up a Kahoot game, you start playing it, and you're looking at the questions and you're like, and then you go a little bit farther and you're really thinking, who made this game? The correct answers are not correct. You know, the incorrect answers are way too easy. There's misspellings in it. I'm like, really, who made this? And so you run across those every once in a while. Kahoot heard us, and they've created these curriculum-aligned, standards-aligned games. So if any of these collections, they've got them for, you know, math, English language arts, history, science. I think there's even some for like photography and music, or I mean, they've got a variety of different categories. So if you go to the Kahoot site, kahoot.com, which by the way is a step up from Get Kahoot. If you've used Kahoot, you guys have seen that change, you know? They finally ponied up and bought kahoot.com, which I think is great. So if you go there, up at the top, there's a button that says Collections. You can click on that and you can go browse and check out all of the stuff that they've got. And so those, at least you know, a teacher has made these, and these are actually legit, you know, vetted Kahoot games. So that's great. Has anybody used the collections? Yeah? What did you think of them?
Well, one of our teachers creates them.
Oh, one of the teachers creates them. Oh, that's awesome. Cool. And so, yeah, if you've got one person making them for everybody, gosh, that's great. Yeah, anybody else? All right, very good. Okay, so that's something worth checking out is the collections. The mobile app. We know about the mobile app at this point? Okay, if you don't, the way the mobile app works is if you play a game in class, you know how you have the questions and the answers on the screen and the kids ring in on their device, but you have to have a teacher running it on a display, right? With the mobile app, you can run Kahoot games off of your device without anybody else. So you can actually play the games and answer the questions and see whether you get them right, which is cool. But the better part is the challenges. So you can use the challenges to either assign Kahoot games as homework or to give kids extra motivation. So what happens is the teacher creates a challenge for Kahoot, and then the students join it. They play the game and they see how many points they can accumulate. And of course, with any good challenge, there's a leaderboard. And so the kids want to climb their way up the leaderboard. And so you do that, and then all of a sudden, homework doesn't feel so much like homework, and it lets kids engage and work with stuff outside of class, which is cool. And then, you know, yeah, so basically the mobile app is a pretty cool thing. So have any of you used the mobile app? Okay, that's something definitely worth checking out. So just it works for for iOS devices and for Android devices. So definitely check out the Kahoot mobile app. The last thing I wanted to show you. Now this is kind of a non-traditional way to use Kahoot. The first two were features that you might not know about. This is like totally different way to use it, because most of the time, what do we do with a Kahoot game? We write some questions and we ask them to kids, what is it, before or after we've taught them the content? Usually after, right? Because it's usually a review. with the blind Kahoot, this is a way to teach new material. You know what I'm talking about? To teach new material with a Kahoot game. It's really cool. So here's kind of the anatomy of a blind Kahoot game. So what you do is you start off with your introductory part, make sure the kids know what you're learning, maybe do a little bit of prior knowledge first. Then, as soon as you get done with that, you get into your very first blind question. I like to call the blind question the stumper question. This is the one with the new material, and it's a question that kids aren't going to know the answer to. And the best blind questions are the ones where the kids think they can figure out the answer, but they're wrong. And so you ask them the question, and the answer goes up there, and it shows that they got the question wrong, and then what do? They're like, how is that possible? And then the next logical questions out of their mouth is, tell me why it is that way. And then where have you got them? Right in the palm of your hand, you know, because if they're asking you to explain something you wanted to teach them anyway, that's a win, you know? So then what do? You get into the explain and discuss part. So you do a question, and you know how you can embed videos in Kahoot questions? Okay, the next question you might have a little video that starts to explain the beginning of it. Or maybe you stop instruction and you give them a little, you talk to them or you discuss. And then from there, you basically just scaffold your way into that new material. So start at the ground level, teach them a little bit, ask them a question, see how they do with it. Then from that information, they go to the next question, which might have another little video. You add a little more to that instruction, ask them another question. And so little by little, with videos and discussion and images and stuff, you're slowly teaching them this new content until all the way you're reinforcing to the point that they've got it. And once you've done that, once they've got it, you've got a couple of options. You can either in class right there. Sometimes a blind Kahoot can take that long. It can take that much time. Or if you've gotten through it and you've got more time in class and you think you can do another one, start into that cycle again. Give them another blind question. So, you know, stump them and then explain it. Go through this cycle as many times as you need to. But when you're done, the end of it, notice how it says here, do it again. If the answer is no, no, not yet. If the answer is no, like we're not going to do it again, we're done, do a compound reinforce. Pull all of those ideas from the day all together into one big question or a couple of questions just to go back over it and make sure that they've got it. And there you go. Instead of just reviewing with Kahoot, this is a way that you can teach it. Now, if that all sounds interesting, I know, you know, if you've never heard of this before, that's probably like, what am I going to do with this, you know? You just kind of got introduced to it. I have a page on my website, ditchthattextbook.com/viewsonic. This has links to all the stuff that I just talked about. So if you want to go directly to the Kahoot mobile app, if you want to go directly to the collections, or if you want to see my blog post on how to do the blind Kahoot, there's links to all of that right there at ditchthattextbook.com/viewsonic. Okay, questions from anybody? Very good. Okay, well, if you got here earlier and were given a free copy of my book, I'm happy to sign it. Feel free to. Other than that, appreciate all of you guys being here. This is awesome, and thanks so much for coming. Thank you.